And it's so cool that that was like one of the big takeaways from just the experience. It's one thing, like I've always wanted to write a book, and I thought the first book I would write was going to be more of kind of like a memoir, kind of like biography, like, oh, but then I started thinking like, nobody, like
Yeah.
there'll be a few people that care,
Right,
but like
yeah.
having an experience and then kind of talking about the faith journey through that experience was like exactly what I feel like God had called me to do, to write the first one, and the
Yeah.
second one, we'll see what happens. But to the fact that like that experience is so cool to have the book, but now that I have like the experience on the other side of it, it was almost like I was like trapped in like the writer kind of focus and like being so like consumed by it every single like week of my life, editing it and just being immersed in it, that now that I'm off, now it's out, I feel like this kind of like, whoa, I can look back and be like, that experience was so bizarre, that was so crazy, that was so like, it taught me so much more about ministry than I could have ever learned by doing the podcast and being at church or whatever. It was such a deeper insight, and it was only one mission trip, but that one mission trip was a life-changing experience that I can take away. And I, like you said, you feel fulfillment. I was, I got a buddy that's, leaning into video editing, and he just downloaded Adobe, and he's like just he's going in with it, and I just builded him. I was so hyping and encouraging with him, and I started feeling joy just by, hyping him up.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law is like thinking about doing, playing music at like local venues and stuff like that. And I'm over here like giving ideas out, like, hey, you should do, I used to know this venue. And I'm over here just like, so pumped because he's actually going to he's going to pursue his passion.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. And I want to help other people do that.
I think that's important. I think a lot of people get stuck a little bit in a rut.
Yeah.
And like we have ideas.
Mhm.
I have someone that I'm, been spending some time with. I had lunch with him a couple weeks ago, and man, heart, attitude, demeanor, everything, such a winner, like a winner from an individual standpoint. Love spending time with him, love being around him, and has ideas. I think I can do this, and I kind of feel called to do this, and I want to do this. And like, man, go do it. Go do it. Pursue it. Do it. I think a lot of people hear, the scripture, God gives me the desires of my heart, and thinks, oh, cool. God's going to give me the car that I want. God's going to give me a Tesla.
That ain't it.
God's going to hook me up, right? that was for you, Taylor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jack, coming your way. All right. But, God's going to give us the desires of our heart, right? And a lot of people get, spiritual gifts or, spiritual gifts and natural abilities kind of confused a little bit, right? Natural abilities are talents and passions and things that God has given us that we pursue, to help us personally, kind of help us in our day-to-day walk and in our life. And I think there are passions and desires in each of us that God has placed there, and they just kind of lay dormant.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But then you never know who you're going to reach through your passions. Like I started this, and I swear, I thought if 4 people listened, I'd be happy. Yeah, I swear. I was like, 4? Like, want to hear what I got to say about Jesus? All right, cool.
Yeah.
And now fast forward, we're like, we're so far in the game that I've seen the fruit from people just really receiving, God, because I feel like we present God in a way that they won't hear on Sundays. We present God in a way where it's deep and relational. And that's the thing. It's just very intimate. It's taking what happens with God personally and making it public for people to, experience, and having great conversations with other people who are believers that have walked a different path, but are on the same walk with God, and it just opens doors for other people to, you're ministering to the one listening, at all times. I posted a clip yesterday on my Instagram of the newest episode, and I was like, man, it got 1 like. And I was like, we do it for the one, though,
Right?
baby. Like I got
Ministering the
eyes,
one in front of you.
And like if you switch your perspective of like, oh, I'm gonna start playing music, but I'm afraid because nobody's gonna like it, or oh, I'm not gonna get a whole bunch of views or subscribers if I start a YouTube about whatever the case may be. But at the same time, it's like, bro, if you reach one person, you're making a true difference. And that I feel like that mentality will save you, because at the same time, it's like it's so easy to get lost in the sauce of like, discouragement and like haters or whatever the case may be. But if you really focus on like, one person listen to that though, like that was my art, that was my passion. I put everything into that one thing that I did, and one person liked it, and then if you get 10 views, you're like, hey, 10x, baby.
Right,
You know,
yeah,
20x.
yeah.
You get 20 views. You know, so Russ, one of my favorite artists in the world, everybody that listens to the show probably knows about now. He says that if you detach yourself from results, you win, because you know that's what holds you back, is when you put
Yeah.
like a false expectation of what should happen.